So I think we'll be making a start now. So I don't think many people have joined via Zoom. Not sure if there's an issue uh, with the joining. However, you can watch it on also YouTube as well on the live stream. If you're finding some difficulty, connecting via Zoom, um, I have shared the links um, on meetup.com. So just a quick intro. This event is being live streamed 40 to 45 minutes. Nobody's mics or videos are shared via the live stream. If you are disconnected, you can join back into Zoom, or you can just watch via the live stream on YouTube. And so just a quick intro first for those who are new to meditation. So meditation is just bringing our attention back into our essential presence. So recognizing who we are beyond our sense of psychological identity, beyond the thought and mind and the self-image we create, is to recognize who we are beyond that, to recognize our existential nature, and to allow our attention to abide in that space of being. So normally our attention is always moving to thought, moving to our identity, moving in the realm of time and space, but to recognize what exists beyond that. So different techniques are used to come into that space within oneself. So today we'll be using breath, third eye, and just a contemplation at the end. And so you do the technique as you feel comfortable. At any point, if you wish to move back to the breath or follow my instructions, please do so. Just be comfortable, just be relaxed and open and receptive to the practice. Okay, so we'll just be making a start now. So if you make yourself comfortable, make sure there's not many distractions around, whether that's your phone or the distractions. Just try to create a nice sacred space for yourself, and we'll be starting with the meditation. And so just closing your eyes in your own time. You could be sitting or you could be lying, preferably sitting up if you can, keeping the back straight, but in a nice, relaxed, alert posture. And just bring your attention first now to the breath. As you inhale, feeling that sensation of air coming in through the nostrils as you inhale. And as you exhale, feeling the air moving back out the nostril as you exhale. So first, we're just going to be watching, just being aware of the breath at the nostril area. And so now bringing your attention to the nostril area. And as you breathe in and out, you're just feeling that sensation of air touching the inner nostrils as you inhale and exhale. And so with your attention at the nostril area, just watching the breath in this moment. Is it coming or going? Is the breath coming in? Is the breath going out? Just to observe, be aware of the breath in this moment as it is. And you may feel that sensation of air coming in through the left nostril, or possibly the right nostril. Just observing where you feel that sensation of the breath the most. Is it predominantly the left nostril or right nostril? Where do you feel that sensation of air the most? And just allowing your attention to focus at that space where you feel the sensation of the breath the most. the left or right or both the nostrils. And just simply watch. So bringing this quality of just observing, just witnessing your present moment experience, observing the present moment breath, whether it's coming in, going out, the different sensations you feel in the nostril area as you naturally inhale and exhale. And so just inhaling, exhaling naturally is a natural process which is automatically occurring. You don't need to consciously change your breath or alter your breathing in any way, but just simply just observe, just simply be aware. And your attention will wander. Your attention is bound to move to different thought patterns, to different sounds, to different sensations in the body, different emotions. So each time you notice your attention is not with the breath, then just stop and just become conscious, become consciously aware of where your attention is. Is your attention with some thought pattern, some emotion, some sensation in the body, or some sound or sense impression? Where's your attention in this moment? And in the same way you observe the breath, just watching the breath coming in and out. In this moment, if your attention is somewhere else, just observe that experience, observe that thought or emotion or sensation or sound. Just observe. Just be silent and just observe without trying to alter or change it, judge it or analyze it, just to observe it. If you find part of your identity is creating a story and judging and reacting to a particular thought, emotion, or experience, just observe that also. Start to come back to this space of witnessing, space of awareness, in which you are aware of even the experience occurring and aware of also a part of the identity, a part of the mind, which is interacting with that experience. Slowly you start to, your perception widens and you recognize this space of awareness within oneself, where you're aware of the experience, aware of the sense of identity and how it identifies and reacts to that experience. Slowly with time, you start to fall into that state of awareness, to recognize it within oneself as it's always present. And then gently guide your attention back to the breath. After you have spent a few moments observing where your attention is with some thought or other experience, then observing it and then slowly bringing your attention back to the breath, slowly bringing your attention back to the nostril area. And again, just watching the breath coming in and out. And as you watch the breath coming in and out, just recognizing this sense of awareness within oneself, this sense of just witnessing or being present to the breath in the moment, with your attention at the nostril area. There's a sense of just being aware of the sensations, aware of the breath. Again, some thought may appear, some sensation somewhere else in the body, some emotion, some thought patterns. Start to become consciously aware of when some other experience starts to arise within one's inner space, some other thought starts arising. And you can also see how the attention starts to move, gravitate towards that particular thought or experience. You start to consciously become aware of where you're feeding your attention, where you're feeding your energy. And if you're in this moment, if your attention is not with the breath, just see where your attention is. And just be aware of that particular thought or emotional sensation, experience disappearing within your inner space in this moment. There may be some sense of identity, sense of I, sense of identification with that particular experience, sense of story around the past or future. Just to observe that if that's occurring. Just watch it for a few moments and then recognize this sense of just being aware of that experience, and then recognizing this sense of awareness itself, the sense of just witnessing, and then bringing your attention back to the breath. In this way, continuously practicing each time your attention drifts, being aware of that experience where your attention has drifted to, being aware of that experience, being aware of any part of the identity which reacts to that experience or identifies with that experience. And then watching it for a few moments and then connecting to that sense of just being aware, connecting to that quality of witnessing, which is there, ever present. Instead of the subject, the object, the thought, we shift the focus back to the subject, back to that sense of awareness. See, the object continually changes and transforms and is temporary in nature, but that sense of awareness is there, ever present. We bring back to that awareness and then shift our attention back to the breath. And again, watch the breath coming in and out. With time, you'll start to observe the subtler sensations of the breath. With time, the breathing starts to slow down, becomes more calmer, deeper, and the slow thoughts start to slow down as well. Body starts to relax, becomes more tranquil and calm as the breath deepens and slows down as your concentration deepens. And watching the breath coming in and out. And so now we'll be moving to the next technique, which is the third eye meditation. If you wish to stay with the breath awareness technique, if you're new to meditation, then just stick with the breath technique and just observe the breath and observe whenever your attention moves to some other experience. Observe how you may react to that experience and then shift your attention back to the breath each time. So now who wish to follow my further instructions, you can do with the third eye meditation. And so now, still observing the breath, however, starting to feel the breath as a flow of energy. As you inhale, you're feeling that energy move up the nostrils and focus at that point in between the eyebrows. And as you exhale, you just allow your attention just to rest at this space in between the eyebrows and feeling the energy just gather. at that space in between the eyebrows. So the initial part of the technique is just to start to visualize the breath as a flow of energy. As you're breathing in, you're taking in that energy moving, and the energy is moving up to the point in between the eyebrows. And as you exhale, you're just feeling the energy gather and your attention rest at this space in between the eyebrows, not creating too much tension or focus, just gently visualizing the breath moving up to this point in between the eyebrows and gently focusing your attention at the point. Watching the breath coming in, feeling a movement of energy rising up to the point in between the eyebrows. When you go deeper into that feeling of energy of the breath, you'll also feel energy moving up the spine as you inhale, and the energy moving to the point in between the eyebrows. But initially, just focus on the breath and energy moving up the nostril and coming to that point. As you actually go deeper into the technique, you start to feel that rise of energy up the central energy channel, up through that spine and to the point in between the eyebrows. So that will come on its own. And just feeling your attention and energy resting at that space in between the eyebrows, feeling the energy gather there, feeling your attention absorbing into the area in between the eyebrows. This being the third eye, the inner eye, to observe inwards into our inner reality. The physical eye is looking outwards, and the third eye looking inwards, looking into our experience, looking and connecting into our inner dimension of space. Our physical eyes focus on the space outside us of ourselves, in the world, the different objects in that space. As you connect to the third eye, now you're connecting to that inner dimension of space, which just like the outer spaces is a boundless, infinite type of space with no boundary. And within that inner space, there's a perception of objects, whether that's a thought or a sensation, and even the impressions, sense impressions, which come from outside, what we deem as outside, are just impressions which are perceived within our inner space. So everything outside and inner is all held in that inner space within oneself. So we start to connect to that dimension, that inner space within oneself. And we start to observe the objects which appear in that inner space, whether that's a thought which may arise, or some sensation in the body, some sound or sense impression from outside, some emotion, some movement of energy, whatever it may be. Just to feel as though you're looking inwards from the third eye. You're looking inwards into the center of the brain, and from the center of the brain into the entire body. And then from the entire body, you can move into the sense of just being aware of that sense of inner space within oneself, which is beyond the boundaries of the body. Just a sense of space, infinite boundless space. And still thought may arise, and just see that thought is just a movement of energy, a movement of form within your inner space. Every experience, just a movement arising within your inner space. And with your attention with the object, it plays for some time and then dissolves back into your inner space, dissolves back into nothing, dissolves back into the formless. And then again, another form arises in the inner space. Attention moves to that object, that experience, and then again dissolves. So just seeing that process of reality, starting to observe through the third eye, we feel as though we're looking into our inner space and we're starting to observe reality as it's occurring within ourselves. Instead of our habitual way of being, of continually being identified and caught up in the psychological mind, in our identity, in the past, or projections of the future. Our attention is normally continually identified with the objects of our experience. And we don't recognize that inner space in which these experiences come and go. Instead, our attention continually jumps to each and every experience which arises within our inner space. We identify with that experience. Our perception narrows into that experience, into that particular thought or perception. And that becomes our reality in that moment. But now we're shifting the focus, shifting the perception, instead of just focusing on the object of the experience, that particular thought or emotion or experience. We start to recognize that space in which the experience comes and goes. And that space is formless, that space is boundless, that space is nothing and everything at the same time. From that space, thoughts arise, energy moves and comes into form and then disappears. So now with the third eye, we're just feeling as though we're looking inwards from this point and connecting to that inner dimension of space. And as you connect to that inner dimension of space, just being aware, just observing whatever arises within that space, just observing the thoughts and different experiences which may arise. And if you can also observe maybe part of your sense of identity or the psychological mind, how it identifies and reacts to these different thoughts and forms of experience. When you get caught up back in the identity back, your perception starts to narrow and starts to focus on that particular thought or experience again. And then step back and connect back to this sense of inner space and just to witness, just to be aware of them experiences without identifying with them. Just to see thought as thought, emotions as a movement of thought energy. Just to be aware of the different feelings within oneself. Maybe some pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or some pleasant, unpleasant sensation or thought. Just to be aware of that. Just to accept it as it is, be present to it, is present to it in the moment. Parts of yourself, your identity start to try to control a particular experience, to push away or grasp onto a certain experience, then be aware of that as well. There's a part of you which is aware of even how the identity tries to react and hold on and or push away certain experiences. So to connect to that inner space, you connect to that space which is unchanging, space which is unaffected by any thought or emotion or circumstance. And that space exists within oneself. Just as the outer space, when you open your eyes, the outer space is just there and objects appear within it. The same way that inner space is just there. It's a formless space in which objects of perception, thoughts, emotions, sensations, impressions are continually arising and passing within the unchanging space within oneself. And so now we'll be moving to the last part of the meditation. So if you wish to carry on with the breath, you can do. If you wish to carry on with the third eye meditation, you can do. And now just being in the last part of the meditation, we're just gonna just recognize that space of just awareness, recognize that inner space within oneself. And so you don't have to practice a particular technique or focus your attention on the breath or the third eye, but just sit with oneself, meaning just connecting to that sense of awareness or presence within oneself, connecting back to one's inner space. Thoughts may arise. You can see your attention move to them thoughts, and then they dissolve. The thoughts dissolve back into one's inner space, back into one's awareness. So now you're just sitting in your own, abiding in your own awareness, abiding in your own presence, recognizing that space within oneself which is beyond the identity, beyond the psychological mind or self-image, beyond thought, in which thoughts come and go. So just resting your attention in that space within oneself. And there's a natural sense of just being aware. You don't have to try to be aware, but there's a just natural sense of just awareness, the natural sense of just presence or existing here and now. And just resting the attention in that space. Which is naturally present. Within your inner space, attention may move to thoughts again. Attention may move to inner narrative or the sense of identity, past, future. Just be aware of that. And then bring your attention back just to the sense of just being aware, or to the sense of presence. To that sense of awareness that you're existing, you're present here and now. And slowly the thoughts and different impressions start to lose their power over your attention. No longer your attention grasp onto each and every thought or each and every impression which arises within your inner space. And slowly your attention starts to rest in that recognition of inner space, presence, awareness. And so in this moment, if you don't identify with any thought, you just simply are. You just simply exist here now, beyond any sense of identity, beyond any name or form, beyond time or space. You're just simply present here now, simply exist here now, without any story. The story may appear within oneself, and then disappear. That story of an individual me and identity is constantly changing depending on our conditioning. But there's a part of you which is aware of even this story you tell yourself. And that part which is aware and present is beyond any story. Before thought is before identity, is before the sense of separation as me separate from the world, separate from life, connecting to the very source of life within oneself, a source of existence within oneself. Knowing that you're not separate from life, you're not separate from existence. That life itself is projecting itself through this body, through this identity, through this form. You just are expression in your individual nature. You're an expression of life itself, a unique expression of life. However, we believe our own stories, believe our own sense of separation into existence, and feel we are separate from life. And so meditation is just to recognize that inner connection, that unified consciousness within oneself, and to recognize that you're not separate from life, not separate from existence. Only that's a story of the mind, a story of the identity, which we're conditioned to believe. We can tap into and recognize that wholeness, that unified consciousness within oneself, which is always there, unchanging, ever present. And in that recognition, there's a natural joy, peace, love, connection. There's no sense of separation. Only as you believe and identify with the separate sense of separate identity, do you feel isolated? Do you feel some lacking? You feel separated? Because the sense of identity itself is just the psychological mind creating a story of who you are based on your past conditionings. So it's only a fragment or aspect of who you are. Just a mask you wear society. To drop the mask and to see who you truly are in your very essence as part of life itself. And so just resting in that peace within oneself, and that peace always there, only clouded as your attention is conditioned, as your attention is conditioned to identify with the thoughts and the story of who you are. Slowly with time, as you recognize that space within oneself, that unified consciousness within oneself, slowly the story of oneself, the story of your identity starts to lose its narrative, starts to lose its importance. And no longer you react to each and every thought, each and every emotion and experience, but you start to recognize the underlying space, the underlying sense of presence, awareness, in which that conditioned response, that conditioned emotion or thought or story occurs within. And instead of focusing on the objects, start to recognize the space of being, that presence within oneself. And everything heals within that presence. That presence holds everything, each and every thought, each and every emotion, when the sense of separation arises and dissolves back into that eternal presence within oneself. That presence holds everything, creates everything, and everything dissolves back into it. And that's the process of healing as well, of healing our emotions, thoughts, and beliefs, and identity. Is coming back to one's presence and allowing these emotions and thoughts to arise and seeing them as they are, just emotions, just thoughts, just forms of energy moving within one's presence. And in their own time, as you bring your conscious awareness to them, they slowly dissolve and disintegrate back into your presence. And then only your presence remains. Everything dissolves back into that essential state of being, into that natural state of meditation, into that eternal presence, which is beyond time and space, which is not a different presence that you experience or I experience. It's just one presence, one consciousness. So now we'll be finishing with the meditation. So slowly bringing your attention now back to the breath, watching the breath coming in and out, and also feeling the breath, feeling the different sensations of the breath throughout the body as you inhale, feeling the flow of the breath through the nostrils, windpipe, lungs, expanding and contracting with the breath. And then just being aware of your body, bringing your attention back to your body consciousness. And then bringing your attention to your external senses, feeling the sense of touch of the skin with the clothing, feeling the sense of touch with the ground beneath you, with the chair you may be sitting on, and then trying to connect to the energy of the earth, moving your attention down the feet, down into the earth, and just releasing any excess energy. And then bringing your attention to any taste you perceive in the mouth, any smell you may perceive. aware of any sound, the sound of your breathing, sounds outside of the room, inside, outside the room. And slowly moving the body in your own time, opening your eyes in your own time, opening your eyes in your own time. And so if you have any questions, you can ask me now. It is being live streamed, so it'll be shared on YouTube, any of the questions as well. You can leave a message in the chat, or you could turn your microphone if you wish to. I know a few people had issues um, logging on today. Hopefully try to sort something out for next week. As last week, we had some people who maybe pranksters who who joined on because I keep the the link was public, and so I've tried to only share the link with people who have RSVP'd. Maybe some people had difficulty finding the link. But always you can sort of replay this meditation. It's on YouTube now, and you can always connect back to it at any time. Yeah, so the next session will be 2 p.m. next Sunday. I was going to do a healing circle this Thursday, but I'm doing it now following. Not this Thursday, the 20 something, 7 p.m. It'll be like a short meditation, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll give time for people to share, experiences.
Online, Priyesh?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. How much would that be?
It's free, yeah.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, I had trouble. I clicked straight onto the event chat. I was a little bit late anyway. Apologies about that. And I clicked on the event chat and I clicked the link on the event chat, and then it seemed to be forever. So I decided to just come onto my PC and laptop and just click the meetup link, and here I am.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I think I'll have to explain it a little bit more next time. I'll leave it in the events that you'll have to, if you go in Meetup, that I'll share the link, the what's it called, the link there, and if you click on there, then you'll be able to log on. And yeah, so I think last week basically some people the pranksters sort of joined in and ruined the the Meetup. So I can't really keep it public anymore. So so don't
No,
happen
but I
again.
did get in on the meetup link today.
Yeah. Oh, you got in through the Meetup.
Yeah,
It's
so
only
that's
if you've RSVP'd, you'll see it. So
yeah,
only
that's
if you've
right.
yeah. So only if you've RSVP'd, then you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were really annoying last week because there was a lovely, well, it wasn't, but there was supposed to be a lovely hypnosis on trauma and forgiveness, and it was just sabotaged. It's a shame.
Yeah, I know. We did follow in with a YouTuber. I think it was the
You
YouTube.
did what?
We did a stream through YouTube after.
I know. I think I was
yeah.
on YouTube. I came onto YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your meditations. Are we able to have a call this week, please?
Yeah. Okay. So just Monday I've got a call anyway. Wednesday I might not be able to, but Thursday or Friday if possible. Tuesday, not Tuesday, Thursday or Friday. Yeah. So just
all right. Okay. Well, message me with your availability and
yeah.
please. All right,
Okay.
sweetheart. But thank you. Thanks for letting me
Thanks
in.
a lot.
I know. Pardon?
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me in. I was very late.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't see if it because I've sort of created a waiting room and then you have to enter through there so you don't get other people coming in. So because I was in halfway in meditation myself, I didn't see the
yeah.
the thing
you.
come up.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. So thanks a lot. Anyway, enjoy
good
your
to
day.
see you, sweetheart. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Bye. And so Mello, yeah, I'll just get your how to stay awake when I get relaxed after lose focus.
I wish I could get that relaxed.
Yeah.
My caravan smells of oil. I live next door to the oil refinery and it really stinks of oil. It's not a very pleasant atmosphere to be in, Priyesh.
Okay, yeah.
So can you put out some energy for the right place for me to come along to move to? And then
I'm sure it will in time. Yeah.
and more energy for me to be able to do it, and then more energy for me to be able to claim universal credit. Please. Yeah.
Okay.
But you now stink of oil. It's horrible. I've never really noticed it before. But yeah, it's awful. Anyway.
Anyway, I'm just going to just answer this quick question from another participant.
Thank you,
One.
Priyesh.
No problem. See you. Bye bye. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's Mellow.
Yeah, you're right, Melody. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was up? Yeah.
So yeah, it's just that I got very relaxed, and I was trying to keep the focus, and then the mind wandering as well was kind of almost a dream state, and then I realized that I fell asleep. So I don't know if that's a problem, or I you know, how to stay alert, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's trying to, sort of, you can get off in that dreamy state, but with practice, is sort of when you sort of attentive, you're alert, you recognize you're in that dreamy state, is to sort of guide the attention back to the breath, and then through time and practice, you'll start to recognize whenever your attention is not with the breath or not with the object of meditation, you recognize your attention has drifted off more quicker, and you recognize that, and then you can shift your attention as well back into the breath or the third eye.
So it's just practice. It's just turning up for it, and
it's just practice of your attention. Yeah, it's basically that conscious awareness as well, more conscious awareness of where your attention is going to, the different wherever you in that dreamy state. So you sort of consciously become aware that you're in that dreamy state, and when you're consciously aware, then you know that, oh, my attention was supposed to be, in this that the breath or the third eye or whatever it was, and then you can guide your attention back into that. But however, if that dreamy state or them thoughts and things are more sort of enticing or more enchanting, your attention drifts off into them thoughts and into that layer of the mind, and then you spend more and more time, your attention would be caught up in that thought, in that type of dream state, and less in that sense of just consciously aware. So it's sort of practice where you can sort of center your attention.
The trouble is, I think it sounds like, and it's happened to me before, going to sleep. You don't want to go to sleep. But is that right, Mello?
No, not really. It was very refreshing, and it was very relaxing. So I didn't know if it just to allow it, and it's just sort of like, the breathing was slowing and then just sinking through, and then
that can come in a deeper type of state as well, when you're starting to go in yourself as well, and so that is not a problem really as well, because when you're sort of experience that dream state, if you're still just sort of connected to that sense of just being aware of it, and then even that dream sort of state can sort of appear, and it's like a it's very fluid, or it's just moving within your inner space type of thing, and it has like a very light form, then that's fine, and just to be aware of that, and in its own time it sort of dissolves, and then you're just back into that sense of awareness. So that's fine if that's happening, but just sort of centering in yourself into that center, just watching or just being aware, and within that sense of awareness, within that space, is this sort of movement of thought, or movement of form.
Okay, thank you.
So you start to access that type of thing as you go more within oneself, and them in the dimensions of oneself, you start to access these different, more dreamy or more so astral type of sort of experiences within oneself. But then it's also then just to be aware of that. That's also another experience that's occurring within you. It's to get sort of caught up in it and sort of want that type of experience as well. Then becomes a hindrance.
Yeah, I struggled to sleep a lot of the time, so I guess it was night. It could be something that I would want.
And it could be body is tired. If you find you struggle to sleep and you're getting this time and that silence and thingy, the body starts to go into sort of sleep space.
Yeah, thank you, Priyesh.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. God
Okay,
bless.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't record it today.
It's not recorded, but it's live streamed, so it's recorded
Okay.
on YouTube. Yeah, yeah,
You
All
can
right.
watch it again on YouTube. And
yeah, yeah.
What's
All of
your
the past
name
ones
on
are all on
YouTube?
YouTube. Yeah,
Meditation for All, is that right, Priyesh?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
On YouTube.
I like the way we're answering each other's questions, Mello.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Lots
so
of
in this-
love then. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. Yeah, so in the healing circle type of thing, I'm going to try to sort of incorporate where we can do like a short 5-10 minute meditation, sort of awaken that presence within oneself, and then sort of hold space for each another so people can share. One person can share pass something on to the next person. They can speak about something that's occurring in their life, or just some gratitude or whatever it may be. And then even if it's a little bit or more, people have to share, and then they can sort of share and speak to each other and share their perception and wisdom. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank
Actually,
you.
can I just ask a question to Mello? Is that your real name, Mello?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Hmm.
What a fantastic name.
Thanks.
Mello. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Oh, all right. Thanks again, Priyesh.
Okay,
See you
thanks
soon.
again. See ya.